To help us make sense of it all, Anna Dua from the NHL joins us live right here on this Friday on the Early Line. Anna, thank you as always for taking the time to be here on this Friday.
Thanks for having me.
Game number 1 last night, Anna, in Dallas. The Stars, in their now 3 series in this Stanley Cup postseason run, have had home ice advantage to start a series and refuse to win a game at home. Last night, though, a tough test into double overtime. Edmonton wins 3-2 just about a half minute into that second OT session. Connor McDavid nets the game winner for the Oilers as Edmonton wins game 1 as a slight road underdog 3-2. Anna, what was your main takeaway from the opening game of the Western Conference Finals?
Edmonton really impressed me the way they were able to rally because, to be honest, I was doubting them a little bit after their series against the Vancouver Canucks. The Canucks were a battered team. They didn't have Thatcher Demko. They lost Brock Besser towards the end of that series, and Edmonton barely got out of that. I thought they should have had a little bit more of a dominant performance, whereas Dallas, I thought, looked really good heading into the Western Conference Final. But yesterday, Edmonton managed to stick around. Dallas had a great start to the game, and Edmonton found their way back. So that's just one of those situations where I feel like the Oilers really showcased that they are a team that could be a Stanley Cup contender, and it was close, guys. Honestly, I know the score sheet doesn't reflect it, but Dallas had a lot of great looks, and Stuart Skinner made a lot of great saves.
Yeah, that's always the interesting part with Edmonton for me is you take a look at the goaltending situation. If you can get quality goaltending, they are a really tough team. And as we move forward in the series, you see it in the pricing. Edmonton wrestles back home ice advantage at now a minus 200 price. Moving forward in the season, is there any panic in Dallas? As Ben pointed out, they're used to being in this spot.
Yeah, I think there's a little bit more panic in terms of the Eastern Conference Final with the Rangers dropping their first game, whereas Dallas just can't win to start off a series, but that means they're a great comeback team for sure. I think a lot of people were down and out on them in Vegas, and Dallas found a way to rally there, so I wouldn't be too worried. The one big thing, though, is in the Stanley Cup playoffs, losing a double OT game is really hard to come back from because everyone's tired. They've had a long season. They played so much hockey to get to this point. You don't want to unnecessarily play that much extra hockey and then end up not even getting a win there.
Yeah, it is really disappointing for Dallas, but to Anna's point, they dropped the first 2 games of their opening round series at home to the Vegas Golden Knights and responded with 2 victories in Vegas. So they're comfortable, but not in the best position, now being down 0-1 after losing game 1 at home. So, Anna, when you look at the Western Conference Finals overall, does Edmonton taking game 1 on the road change your outlook for the series overall?
I had Dallas in 6 heading into this series. I think this series definitely goes 6 or 7. I really do think after that game, it can kind of go either way. As I said earlier, the big question mark for me with Edmonton was Stuart Skinner. I thought Jake Onger was the significantly better goalie in this matchup. And yesterday, Stuart Skinner was a big reason why the Edmonton Oilers were able to come out here with a win. Dallas allowed 2 goals. It didn't they let Dallas score 2 goals, and it didn't rattle him that much. But in that OT period, the Stars had a lot of good looks. Connor McDavid took a double minor to kick things off, and Edmonton being able to kill that off and Stuart Skinner holding down the fort, that was my biggest question mark. He kind of proved himself there. Probably the best game I've seen him play, and the confidence he's going to have for the rest of the series. Maybe Edmonton actually comes out, so I might be changing my prediction just a tad.
Let's take a look at those Canadian teams in the NHL, 3 of which missed the playoffs. The Montreal Canadiens, the Ottawa Senators, and the Calgary Flames. The Maple Leafs lost in round 1 along with the Winnipeg Jets. Round number 2, it was the Canucks. So still left now with the 1-0 lead in the Western Conference Finals is the Edmonton Oilers. We haven't seen a Canadian team win a Stanley Cup since Patrick Roy and the Montreal Canadiens. Could this be the year, Anna, that we see a Canadian team lift the Stanley Cup?
I mean, I don't want to jinx it. I've never seen the Canadian team win the Stanley Cup in my lifetime, so it would be great to see the Cup come back north of the border, but Edmonton's been having the storyline for the last couple of seasons. I truly think any of the 4 teams left could seriously win the Stanley Cup. This year, we're seeing 4 very, very strong teams left standing in the NHL. Florida had a great start against New York, but we know that the Rangers can really rack up those goals and come back into the series in Game 2. Edmonton proved themselves in Game 1, but once again, that was a double OT win against Dallas. Could have gone either way, so Dallas is right up there too. I really can't say, truly you can make a case for any of these 4 teams. It's hard to even pick a favorite.
Anna, as a native of the Great White North, as a native of Toronto, are you rooting for Edmonton, Canada's last chance to win Lord Stanley's Cup?
Oh man, I keep getting this question. We're doing a conference finals show right now for the NHL, which airs during every single game of the conference finals. And I swear to God, I was asked this 4 different times last night during this Edmonton-Dallas game. A lot of people disagree with me. This is just my take. I root for any Canadian team, and a lot of people in Toronto are going to be really angry that I said that. But, I want Cup come back to Canada. I want to see it just up north of the border. And also I root for a lot of Canadian players. Connor McDavid is from very, very close to me, so I'm rooting for him as well. So I take a look at where all those guys are from the roster because that's where the Cup's spending time in the summer.